It's episode 509 of the Locked On Texas Rangers podcast, and we are talking about reasonable expectations. Yes, we are feeling reasonable this week about the new Rangers signings. Yes, that's right. Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, Jon Gray, Kole Calhoun are all new Texas Rangers signings. Today, I'm going to be breaking down what different projections have them being and what my projections for these guys are. I'm very optimistic on at least the first two of these guys. Jon Gray as well, and Kole Calhoun I think should provide some real value for this team. Getting into all of that and more coming up on this episode of Locked On Rangers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On the Texas Rangers. I'm your host, Brice Paterik, here today with the 509th episode of the Locked On Texas Rangers podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you guys so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen of the day. So make sure you go, if you're not already, follow me on Twitter at Brice Paterik, follow the show at Locked On Rangers, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever the heck you get your podcast. Now, I know I talked about saying today's episode is going to be talking Marcus Semien and Corey Seager and Jon Gray and Kole Calhoun and all those fun new things, but there are some housekeeping notes. There's not going to be a whole lot of news for the rest of this offseason, or at least during this lockout, I should say. There should be some more news during the offseason, but during this lockout, there's not a whole lot going on, so I feel like I need to touch on the very few things that are happening. There are 5 Rangers players that are now no longer Rangers players. The Rule 5 minor league draft happened. Yes, the Major League Rule 5 draft did not happen, but the Rangers lost 4 players in this minor league draft. They lost Charles LeBlanc, an infielder, to Miami, along with righties Abdiel Mendoza to Toronto and Cole Uvula to Baltimore. They also lost Nick Lau to Pittsburgh in the minor league Rule 5 draft. Now, Charles LeBlanc is the only guy who I really saw that much of this year. He is an infield. He played third base, shortstop, and second base. Had a pretty fine season for Round Rock this year. 96 games. He had an OPS of 768. But again, this is the minor league rule draft. I wouldn't get too bent out of shape about it. He did have 17 home runs this year. Played some pretty solid defense. But again, I don't think he made his major league debut this year. So it was kind of a bummer that he didn't get to do that with Rangers, but it's fine. Abdiel Mendoza is a guy who is a right-handed pitcher listed at 5'10", 160 pounds. He is now a member of the Blue Jays. He's 23 years old, from Panama. Went with Down East this year, had a 4.95 ERA in 10 games. 7 of those were starts. That's 36 and a third innings. Struck out 40. Also walked 16. So walks and strikeouts were big for this guy. But again, nothing you're too bent out of shape about. Cole Uvula is a guy who I actually kind of liked as a relief pitcher. I'm surprised they didn't kind of push him a little bit up faster to the big league level. He did really well in Round Rock or in Frisco, and then did not do so well in Round Rock. I guess that kind of makes sense why he didn't get pushed up to the big league level. Pitched 22 and 2/3 innings for Round Rock, had an 8.74 ERA, but in Frisco in 23 games, 17 of those were ones that he finished. That was 31 innings. He had a 2.90 ERA in that span. Also was striking out 12.2 batters per 9 innings, only 7.1 strikeouts per 9 at the AAA level. So again, a guy who had some potential, didn't do super great in Round Rock. Maybe he's going to get a little bit more of a chance with Baltimore to be at the make the big leagues and do well. But the Rangers have a lot of relievers and a lot of relief prospects ahead of this guy. Wish him nothing but the best. And Nick Lau, obviously, going to Pittsburgh. Now, I did say 5. That's only 4. DJ Peters is also no longer a member of the Texas Rangers next season. He is signed with a KBO deal with the Lotte Giants. He was taken off the 40-man roster. For all those of you who are in my comments or tweeting at me like, no, this guy is a member of this team for the future. I mean, maybe he was, but if he saw his deal in the KBO and he thought that was his chance, then it kind of shows you about what you'd expect of what his major league prospects were. He made his major league debut this year in 18 games with the Dodgers, and then did pretty well with the Rangers in 52 games. Had a 645 OPS though. The walks, he just could not walk, and he could not stop striking out. An on base of 218, even though he slugged 426, had 12 home runs in those 206 plate appearances this year. All he did was hit dingers and strike out. And looks like he was all out of dingers. But best of luck to him in the KBO. Go get your money. Go get a sure deal, which you probably weren't going to get. Maybe you would have gotten a minor league deal, which they can still sign during this lockout. They can't sign major league deals, but players can sign minor league deals. D. Strange Gordon did sign a minor league deal, I believe, with Philadelphia. Not exactly sure, but it all that to say, minor league deals can still be signed during this period. So that's all the housekeeping notes I've got. There's not going to be a whole lot more of housekeeping notes because, again, it's the off season. We just got into the minor league Rule 5 draft. There's really not a whole lot going on at this point in the off season, but it's okay. It's okay because we have lots to talk about on this show, including projections for these 4 new Rangers. I'm very excited to get into those. But first, I got to tell you guys about DirecTV Stream. Does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows, you're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friend's login for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle, and a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, shows, all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes, and no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part is there's no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion. Get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. That's direct. You can learn more at directv.com. directv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. Now, enough of the teasing. I'm getting into the real stuff. I promised you some projections, and today we're going to get into those projections. So let's take a look at what my thoughts are on what the heck is going to happen with Kole Seager, with Marcus Semien, Jon Gray, and Kole Calhoun. Obviously, I start with the biggest contract first. I don't know, money talks, so I figure we talk with the big spender first. So let's look at Kole Seager, the guy who's going to be playing shortstop for your Texas Rangers in 2022. Gosh, that just sounds so good to say, to finally have him here. It's been a dream for so long, and it felt like the longest offseason before this. And then once everything happened, everything just kind of sped by. And I have just been overwhelmed with all the content, and there's gonna be a lot more content and stuff coming up in the next couple of days, some crossovers and some other good stuff. I'm gonna try and get you at least 4 shows a week for the next couple of weeks, just some housekeeping notes. But anyway, I keep stalling because I'm just still so excited about Kole freaking Seager being a Texas Ranger. Now let's get into some of the projections of what these different systems have to say. I'm basically just using 2 systems for all these guys. There's Baseball References projections, and then the Steamer projections, which are of course a part of Fangraphs. Fangraphs is a great site. I'm more of a Baseball Reference guy myself, but Fangraphs is a great site as well. It's just kind of a what you're used to kind of thing. Kind of like AL versus NL baseball. It's just kind of what are you used to? What do you love? Obviously, having universal DH is nice, but NL baseball can be fun too sometimes when you're not having to watch so many pitchers hit. Maybe I have a little bit of my bias coming out there. But anyway, 2022 projections for Kole Seager's age 28 season, according to Baseball Reference. They have him playing in 467 plate appearances, 418 at-bats, scoring 65 runs, 117 hits, 27 doubles, 2 triples, 19 home runs, just 68 RBI, 2 stolen bases, 1 caught stealing, triple slash line, batting average 282, on base 354, slugging 494. That's an OPS of 849. I don't feel like those are very optimistic projections. It doesn't seem like he's going to come anywhere close to getting some career numbers. His career on base, it's below his career on base, below his career batting average as well, significantly below his career batting average. His career average is 297. They have him 15 points below that. They have him 13 points below his career on base. They have him 10 points below his career slugging percentage, and that adds up to about 22 points below his career OPS. I don't think that's right. I think he's going to have a great season with the Rangers. I think these 2 new hitting coaches the Rangers have, or new offensive philosophy, a new offensive coordinator and new hitting coach as well. I think they're going to do very well for Kole Seager. I think they're going to keep him healthy. I think part of the reason that he chose the Rangers is because of their top of the line, medical facilities, their medical staff, and how good a job they're trying to do to take care of their players in both preventative and injury treatment. Just those things, I think, helped with him, and there's been a lot of random freak injuries. Like it's not been a whole lot of, oh, he's got this one chronic shoulder issue. It's been a bunch of different random things. Last year he missed time because he got hit in the hand by a baseball. That's not him being, weak or injury prone. Anybody gets hit in the hand by a baseball going 90 plus miles an hour, it's going to do some freaking damage and you're going to miss some time. Also, he had a Tommy John surgery that made him miss time in 2018, a couple of hamstring and, just random one-off things. He was also fully healthy in 2020. He only missed 8 games in that 60-game season and did incredibly well. And he's been super productive when he's been healthy the last couple of years and his entire career, really, outside of 2018, which he wasn't really right from the start of that. But every year that he's been healthy, he's had an OPS over 800, which it's been a hot minute since the Rangers have had a shortstop with an OPS over 800. Sorry, Elvis, love you, but hitting dingers wasn't exactly his strong suit. But anyway, let's look at what the Steamer has to say about him. Steamer is projecting him for 136 games. That's 596 plate appearances, 25 home runs, triple slash line of 290 batting average, 368 on base, and 505 slugging, and a 4.8 WAR season according to Fangraphs. That would be a pretty solid above average career season for him. His career high in WAR according to Fangraphs is 6.9. That is his rookie season when he played 157 games. He also had a 6-4 season the season after that, his other all-star season. And last year he had a 3.7 WAR season according to Fangraphs. Now, let me make my projections. Let me calculate some things. I already did my calculations and stuff beforehand because I am a prepared host. So my calculations, my projections for Corey Seager next season. I have him. I'm just going to do slash line, homers, WAR, and games played because all that other stuff, me projecting that just feels like just a bit over the top. I'm smart, but I'm not that smart. But anyway, this is what I think Corey Seager is going to do next year. I think he's going to have a triple slash line of 305 with an on base of 375 and slug 550. That is a 925 OPS with 32 home runs, 6 WAR in 145 games. I think he makes an all-star appearance the first time since 2017, and it's going to be a great, great season for him. Yeah, that's pretty optimistic. It's not his career high in everything, but it's getting close in some of those things. His career high in OPS is 943, which he did in the shortened 2020 season. Last year he did 915 OPS in his 95-game span. That would definitely be a career high in home runs. His career high right now is 26 that he did his rookie year, but I feel good about him. I feel really good about him. I think he's going to do great things. I think the Rangers are going to keep him healthy. I think he absolutely I know that he loves hitting in Arlington and loves the stadium. So I think he's going to have a breakout year, even more a re-breakout year. I mean, everybody knows how good Corey Seager is when he's healthy. It's just he hasn't been healthy. I think he's going to be healthy, and he's going to absolutely crush bombs and going to be so much fun to watch, play a whole bunch of games at shortstop, stay healthy, and hit dingers, and it's going to be so much fun to watch, and I am very excited to see him do that and absolutely crush it. Now, let's move on to Marcus Semien, the guy who's going to be playing second base for the Rangers. By the way, side note, this is going to be the best Rangers middle infield since 2003. Yeah, the first couple of years of Michael Young's career were not super great when he was the second baseman with old Alex Rodriguez, but in 2003 he really came out of his shell and played 160 games that year, had an OPS of 785. That was kind of him finding his offensive upswing. Also, Alex Rodriguez had a 995 OPS that year. I think this middle infield could actually be the best middle infield in Rangers history. I know it feels a little sacrilege to say, given how just crazy stupid good A-Rod is. I know how people feel about him. I know how I feel about him. But the baseball player he was in Texas was just so stupid good. And this could be the best middle infield in baseball and the best middle infield in Rangers history. So there's definitely some stuff to get really, really excited about. And Marcus Semien is going to be a big part of that. Now, let's look at his baseball reference projections. I'm just going to go through these real quick. In his age 31 season, Baseball Reference have it projected for 626 plate appearances, 32 doubles, 3 triples, 30 home runs, 78 RBI, 10 stolen bases, a 258 batting average, a 333 on base, slugging 487. That's an 821 OPS. Again, that doesn't feel super optimistic, especially given what he's done and the two most recent full seasons of baseball. I'm throwing out 2020 because I can. It's my podcast and I want to. But I mean, last year he had an OPS of 873. In 2019, somehow when he wasn't an All-Star but did finish third in MVP voting, he had an 892 OPS. It's the on base that really keeps him from it. He slugged over 500 each of those two seasons. This past year, he had a 334 on base. The year in 2019, he had a 369 on base, which is well above his 324 career on base percentage. So I do think he needs to walk just a smidge more. And I'm going to get even more into some of these numbers. But first, I want to tell you guys about Built Bar. This holiday season, you can grab the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, or, maybe even better than a candy bar. Built Bar is filled with so much delicious holiday goodness, rich and decadent flavor, covered in chocolate, but amazingly low calories, sugar, net carbs, fat, and it's high in protein. You get the best of both worlds. It's delicious and healthy. There's a bazillion different flavors, and it gives you that extra fuel to knock down those mall doors or just to chill in some endless shopping lines. And don't bring up what your favorite flavor is with your family unless you want to fight. If you want to fight, then go ahead and do that, because it's definitely going to cause a fight. But if you're friends with Santa, you can tell Santa to throw a few Built Bars in those stockings. There's so many different flavors that it's going to be a part of your great Christmas. It's going to make anybody's Christmas. Or whatever holiday you celebrate. Built Bars are great for literally every single holiday. So if you like some of those marshmallowy treats around the holidays, you need to get your hands on some Built Bar Puffs. They're light, they're fluffy, marshmallowy through and through, different flavors, all covered in chocolate. Tastes so good, you won't believe that they are filled with protein. So our listeners can go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, and you'll get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. This episode is also brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered all season for more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football season continues the march to the playoffs. The Cowboys are looking like they're marching to the playoffs. You want to put some money on the Dallas Cowboys to do good things at sports. I'm not going to advise you to do that because they've hurt my feelings multiple times. If you got money on the line, then they're going to really hurt your feelings if they do that. Or maybe they won't. I don't know. I'm no genius, but you might be. And if you are, then you make some sports predictions at BetOnline. Head to the new updated website or updated desktop or mobile website. Sign up today. Receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code LOCKEDON, because BetOnline is your number one spot for all the sports action this season. Every sport: basketball, football, NHL, boxing, UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. Now, I know I was talking a little bit about Marcus Semien projections. Now, let's get into even more of those. I don't think those baseball reference ones are very optimistic. Maybe they're just haters. Maybe baseball reference is just haters. It's entirely possible. But the Semien projections like him a little bit more to have a better season than those old pesky baseball reference ones do. They have him playing 150 games. That seems pretty low for him. He's played quite a few games in the last few seasons. He's played... the last time he played under 150 games in a full season was 2017. That was when he played 85 games with Oakland. Outside of that, it's been since he was with the White Sox that he played under 150 games in a full season. He played 162 last year, played 162 in 2019, 159, 159, 155. He's just an Iron Man. He likes being out there a whole lot. So I think that games might be a little bit on the low side. Anyway, they have him hitting 30 home runs in 681 plate appearances, a 260 batting average, an on base of 337, and a slugging percentage of 468. That is well below, 70 points below his slugging percentage from last year, and they have him having a 4.6 WAR season, which that seems pretty low too. I mean, last year he had a 6.6 WAR season according to Fangraphs, and in 2019 he had a 7.6 WAR season. This guy has been incredibly consistent, just very stinking good at baseball. He's been very healthy, reliable, veteran, yada, 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 all those good things. So I think both of these projection systems are indeed haters. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I think, because I am a certified not hater, at least in this category when it comes to Marcus Semien and Rangers projections for next season, because I'm now turned optimist after years of being made into a pessimist by bad baseball, I am back on the hashtag Team Optimist train. So here are my projections for Marcus Semien for next year in his first year as a Texas Ranger. Batting average 270, on base 350, slugging 530. That's an 880 OPS with 35 home runs, a 6 WAR season in 159 games, and he also makes an All-Star team because he should, and he should have made several All-Star teams in the last few years, but other folks have been haters, and I don't think they'll deny him this year because they know who he is after last year. People might not have known who Marcus Semien was until 2019. Towards the end of the year, they look at the numbers and they're like, oh, this guy's pretty good. And then you see what he did last year, and you're like, oh, wow, this guy is something really special. The Rangers got a really stinking good player, and I think he's going to have a great season in his first year in Texas. He's going to be 31 years old, and I just feel really good about it. Now, do I think that parlays into the Rangers making the playoffs? Absolutely not. Not next year. 2023, I think that's more likely. But again, this team still has very far to go. These guys are going to have great seasons, and they're going to be a lot of fun, and baseball is going to be exciting and worth paying attention to in Texas for next year, and that is a huge, huge step forward and definitely worth the $560-something million that Rangers ownership spent to get it. Now, the two less than $100 million contracts that the Rangers signed out. Let's go ahead and look at these guys. Jon Gray, who is going to be, at this point, the Rangers' number one on this staff. Let's look at what Baseball Reference has to say about what they think this guy is going to do in his age 30 season. They have him with a 4.53 ERA. They have him having a save. Why? This makes no sense, Baseball Reference. Please explain yourself, because why? Anyway, they have him throwing 145 innings. They have him giving up 20 home runs and walking 55, striking out 142, so below his career strikeouts per 9. They have him with a 13.38 whip and under 9 hits per 9. I don't love that. I don't think that's super optimistic. I think he's going to do very well in his first season away from Coors. I know he learned how to pitch very well in Coors, and he liked it there. But again, Globe Life Field is very, very much... Maybe it's just the Rangers' offense has been so bad. We don't know if it's a hitter's park or if it's a pitcher-friendly park. But I think it leans more pitcher-friendly at this point because of how big it plays and how ginormous and huge it is. And he's used to those fly balls going and being home runs, where they won't be as much so, hopefully, in Globe Life Field as they were at Coors Field. I feel like that's pretty easy to say. But I'm a little more optimistic on him and what he's going to do this year. I think he's going to pitch in 30 starts, average 6 innings per start. So he would go 180 innings, a 3.90 ERA with 190 Ks, a 130 whip. That would be really great stuff for him. That would be a career high in innings and strikeouts. Right now, his career high in strikeouts is 185, which he did which he did back in 2016 as a 24-year-old. His career high in innings is 172 and a third, which happened in 2018 when he was 26, also with Colorado. It's all with Colorado, but it's not his career best ERA. He did that in 2017, a 3.67 ERA in 110.1 innings that year. But this would be a big improvement. He's only had an ERA under 4 twice. The last time he did it was 2019, a 3.84 ERA in 150 innings exactly, when he had 150 strikeouts as well. I think he's primed for a big season, and I think the Rangers bet big on that, and I think they believe in him, and I think that things are going to go well for him in his first year in Arlington. I am high on him. I gave my projections before I looked at what the Steamer said. It's fine. I already looked at it beforehand, but this is what Steamer projects him for 2022. They have him pitching 31 starts, 178 innings with a 4.31 ERA and a 2.1 WAR season. Oh, I guess I didn't give his WAR. I think 2.1 WAR sounds about right. Maybe 2.5 if things are going really well. I'd say 2.5. Yeah, let's say 2.5 WAR, according to me and my projections and my calculations of WAR. I don't have a specified type of WAR. There's F WAR and B WAR, but there isn't a Brice WAR. I'm not that smart to make those projections, but I feel good about him. I feel good about what he's going to do on this team. I know it's going to be a little bit of scenery change, but again, getting away from Coors, that is a huge factor and a huge benefit, I think, to any pitcher not pitching at Coors. You're going to do a lot better when you get away from there because things are weird there. You give up a lot of home runs. You're also facing the NL West so much. I mean, the three of the best lineups in baseball are in the NL West. The Giants, the Dodgers, the Padres. All those guys are mashing against these opposing pitchers. So that's not to say that, the Astros don't have a lineup that's about equally as good as any of those. If they lose Carlos Correa, it will be not quite as good, but still very loaded with talent from top to bottom. The Angels have some really great hitters and a fairly deep lineup, and the Mariners are on the up and coming, but they're still not quite there with, they have no Fernando Tatis Jr., they have no Manny Machado, they have no, Corey Seager. The Dodgers, they have no Buster Posey having prime seasons, or Brandon Belt or Brandon Crawford, of all those guys having resurgent seasons. So, again, I think he's going to do well in his first year here, leading this staff, being a big part of leading this franchise forward and not being the number one. Hopefully, unless he does really well, then that's fine of him just having a much better than expected season in his first year away from Coors, but not being the number one on a team that is in playoff contention, because the Rangers won't be, and hopefully by the time 2023 rolls around, they'll have somebody who is a little bit better than Jon Gray, or if Jon Gray is amazing and is an all-star, then I'm not going to be mad about it. I promise I won't be mad about it if Jon Gray is an all-star or pitching at all-star caliber level. I won't be mad at all. Not even a little bit. Now, let's talk about this last signing. Hopefully not the last signing the Rangers make this offseason, but definitely the last one that they signed. Well, and not the last one, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Kole Calhoun. We're getting into Kole Calhoun and his projections. He's going to be 34 next year, coming off a not great season, a season where he had an OPS under 700. Things did not go well for him last year. He had some hamstring issues, only played in 51 games. Did very, very well in 2020 and also in 2019. 2019 was his last year with the Angels, and 2020 was his first year with Arizona. In 54 games that year, he had an 864 OPS, slugged 560, had 16 home runs in that shortened season in 2020 with Arizona. The year before, he had set a career high in home runs with 33 with the Angels, had an OPS of 792. He's only had an OPS over 800 twice. Once was in 2020, once was in 58 games his rookie year with the Angels in 2013, which has been a hot minute since then. So I think he's going to be more of a platoon player. I'm hoping that he's not going to be, full-time. Again, he is 34. He is aging a little bit. He has won a Gold Glove, so he knows how to play defense, but again, his body is aging, so maybe you don't want to put him out there a whole bunch. And at this point, I'm not sure if Willie or Kole Calhoun would be a better defender in the outfield. I'm honestly not sure, because I haven't watched him that much, because I didn't watch a whole lot of Arizona Diamondbacks games last year, and I think you should be able to forgive me for not watching those the last 2 years, because they have not been good. They have been very bad. So, again, I have not watched a whole lot of Arizona Diamondback games. But anyway, let's look at what the projections say, and according to Baseball Reference, they have him in 353 plate appearances, that's 309 at-bats. They project him for 15 doubles, 1 triple, 16 home runs, 42 RBI, batting average of 230, on base 314, slugging 440. That's an OPS of 754. That seems about fine, fair. Let's look at what the Zips projections, the Steamer projections have for him over at Fangraphs. 105 games, that is 556 plate appearances, 19 home runs, a batting average of 227, on base of 312, slugging 414. One more season. Fine. Not great. But I just really believe in this new offensive philosophy and helping these guys who seem like they're a little washed up and taking them and giving them some new life in their career. I don't think he's going to have anywhere near the 2020 where he has an 864 OPS and just crushes it, or a 30 home run season like he did in 2019. I think those days are a little behind him. I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but I could be. I should just say that before all podcasts. I don't think I'm wrong, but it's possible. just hedge my bets all around. But I do think he has a bit of a career resurgent season in a limited, more platoon kind of role, just absolutely crushing righties. Now, I think this is what I project for him this season. 240 batting average, on base of 338, slugging 460. That's a 798 OPS, 22 home runs, and a 2 WAR season in 110 games. Now, that would be much better, just significantly better than just about anybody else outside of Joey Gallo, what they were doing last year. It's an OPS higher than what Nathaniel Lowe did last year. It's higher than what Adolis Garcia did last year. And it's not Joey Gallo, what he did last year. But the Rangers aren't asking him to be Joe Gallo. They're asking him to be fine, above average, pretty helpful veteran bat that helps fill out your lineup. You need some of those guys in every team, and every team that's not bad. And the Rangers were bad last year, so they didn't have many of those guys. So a Kole Calhoun is valuable on a short deal. Maybe they'll end up picking up that option, and he doesn't live up to it the next year. If so, then no harm, no foul. It's not a very expensive contract. So again, I think that he should do well with the Rangers. He's going to make $5.2 million next year. And if the Rangers pick up that option in 2023, then he'll make $5.5 million in 2023 as a 35-year-old. So he's still got some good seasons left, I think. And this hitting staff is going to have a lot of work cut out for him to get him back to where he was before. But he's got potential there. He's shown that he can do well. He can be a productive member of society or baseball society or baseball lineup. I don't know about productive member of society. We're not friends, so I can't really make those claims on him. But I'm sure he's a productive member of society. He's making lots of money and hitting baseballs very far. Anyway, I'm stalling too much on Kole Calhoun projections. It's fine. However many of you are left here, then yeah, I'm thankful for all of you who are left. But those are my projections for these guys. Can have a great season for all these guys, better than last season. I'm projecting for most of them, except for Marcus Semien. I think, if I projected him to hit like 50 home runs, y'all be like, all right, this guy is off of his freaking rocker. He is just way too much drunk on the Kool-Aid this year, on the bandwagon Kool-Aid, whatever it is. He has gone too far onto that. But I want to thank you guys so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen of the day. Again, if you haven't already, go follow me on Twitter at Brice Paterik. Follow the show at Locked On Rangers, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever the heck you get your podcasts. I'll be back tomorrow with a little less fun episode, but I think very informative. I'm going to be talking about what went wrong with the Rangers. They weren't supposed to be bad this year. 6 years ago, I guess actually is more like it. Things just started absolutely falling off the rails for the Texas Rangers. All these prospects not working out, Prince Fielder injury. I'm going to be talking about what the heck went wrong and why the Rangers' window of contention closed much earlier than we originally thought that it would. But that'll be tomorrow's episode. Then hopefully on Wednesday I'll have an episode with Javi Reyes of Locked On San Diego Padres to talk about the Rangers being no longer sad boys. All that and more coming up on this week's edition of Locked On Rangers. So stay tuned. There'll be some good content coming out the next couple of weeks. Very excited about. But that's going to do it for this edition of Locked On Rangers. And until next time, don't forget to enjoy baseball.